Okay? Andrea is saying retirement is sweet. Okay. That takes care of the Cardinals leadoff man. All right. I'm going to get to the Seattle. Here's something else. You talk about odd statistics. Everybody thinks that bad pitching was the chief culprit in the Rockies' miserable season in 2009, but it was aided by inconsistent hitting. All right. I mean, you may not think that when you look at Arenado Blackman's story and David Dahl, but consider this: the Colorado Rockies scored 835 runs, but that ranked fourth in the National League, which is not good enough for a team that calls Coors Field home. It was the first time out of the top two since 2012, and its first time out of the top three since 2008. And the Rockies adjusted, park adjusted, that's WRC plus, 86th, and it ranked 26th in the majors. And that qualifies run creation and normalizes it with the goal comparing players who play in different ballparks and stuff like that. Okay? So if they're going to contend, the offense must be more potent. Okay? Colorado's road batting average of 230 was the sixth lowest in franchise history and the lowest in the National League. The Rockies hit 300 at Coors Field. Their .289 on-base percentage on the road ranked last in the majors and was their lowest since 2015. Their on-base percentage at home was .360-something, best in the National League. Never seen such dramatic splits as we saw last year. I've discovered, as you guys probably know if you've listened and not just hung around talking to yourself, that Miguel Cabrera. How you liking, Steven? Welcome back. Welcome home, Steven Culps. Kenny Flaherty is here. Dale is here. Big Al. Okay, so welcome home to Culps. Now, here's the other thing. I've talked about Miguel Cabrera, and he looks, I'll tell you, in 3 days of camp, the reports are he is dialed in. He's fielding ground balls. He feels good. And he's taken part in every defensive drill at first base with the exception of rundowns. And then he takes 4 or 5 rounds of batting practice. I got to tell you, he's hitting balls over the fence and left and center and right, just like the old days. All right, before I get into the Seattle closer, let me get into the Seattle closer now, okay? Because that's what I promised. Seattle closer. I don't know who it is. Is it Tui Valala, who got a late start last year as he completed his recovery from a torn Achilles tendon? Look, he's an ex-Cardinal, if you remember. Best statistical season of his big league career. He had a .235 ERA, 7 holds in 23 appearances. His fastball lost some zip after his surgery. He had a high strikeout rate, about 28%. That's the highest since 2015. So if he keeps the ball in the park, he gave up only 1 home run in 23 innings of work, although he did have a lot of walks, a little over 12%. Fly ball rate was well above his career norms. He's a possibility. We all thought that Magill, who was initially held back to start camp due to minor shoulder discomfort through a bullpen session. So we'll see. He finished 2019 as the Mariners closer. He picked up 5 saves. He may be the leading candidate, but he's a week and a half behind everybody else. The guy I like is Altavilla, who had forearm issues in 2018, struggled in 2019, but he pitched, don't forget he came back at the end of the year, pitched 9 innings over the last month of the season, only 35 batters, but he brings heat, 60, 96, 97, great slider, close to 90, but getting that, stuff, he's got almost an 18% walk rate. So those are the 3 candidates: Altavilla, Magill, and Tuivalala, I'm going to guess it's going to be Altavilla. But whoever wins it is going to get it, okay? I'm guessing Altavilla. And when I tell you it's a guess, it's a freaking guess, okay? It's more than a guess. It's a big guess. I don't have any idea. But we'll see. That's what we got to watch. And don't forget, when we're looking, I'll say it every time, we have got to look to see who comes in first. Got to look to see who comes in the third inning, okay? Got to see it. By the way, everybody's talking about Luis Robert. Everybody's talking about him. At three levels at age 21, he had 550 plate appearances, batted .328, 32 home runs, 36 stolen bases, 108 runs scored, 92 RBIs. Anything wrong with that? Luis Robert. Heard a podcast this morning where once again the podcaster called him Louis Robert. I've done that many times, okay? Does anybody know who Pavin Smith is? Okay? Phil Chaplin. Who is Pavin Smith? He had a big second half in Double-A last year. So he's back. The Diamondbacks are raving about him. Pavin Smith. I'm asking Phil, who is a tremendous guy. A closer is a closer is a closer. Yep, that's right. Hirano is on another team now, right? But I'd like to know if Phil, who I trust very much with his prospects, knows who Pavin Smith is. Okay? And I'll tell you why. Pavin Smith getting a lot of talk in Arizona. He may not come out and be the number one guy, okay? Hirano is not on the... he's on Seattle now. Right, he could be on Seattle. Is he on Seattle? Is Hirano on Seattle? As I'm thinking about Seattle, I take a look at that. Yeah, Hirano. He could win it. Eric Swanson is there. Yoshihisa Hirano, another guy. Thank you. This is why you come to the chat room. It's not just me. I learned from the chat room, and we all contribute. We all help each other. Pavin Smith had a big second half in Double-A. He hit .350 in his final 52 games. He finished with the third best OPS in the Southern League. And look, he changed his batting stance. He is standing higher, taller in the plate since his so he could see the ball better. Now, defensively, he's a first baseman. Started 38 games in the outfield. I'm just going to tell you, keep an eye on Pavin Smith. One of the pitchers that I really love is Max Fried. We talked about Max Fried many times. He's best known for his confounding curveball, and he pairs that up with a fastball and a slider. He doesn't use the changeup that much, but he has thrown 64 times, about 2.5%, and he threw he's going to incorporate it a little bit more. I think the ceiling for Max Fried, he had a 4 ERA across 30 starts last year, struck out 173 against 47 walks. All right? He was the team's best bullpen weapon, okay, in the playoffs. So Max Fried, his floor, good middle of the rotation starter. His floor is very high. He's just not going to be bad. His ceiling is absolutely, I'd say it's undefined, okay? So, Max Fried, you just can't, you just, if you get a chance, as a number 2 or number 3 starter, fantastic. Now, the Braves at third base, holy mackerel. Austin Riley, when he came up from AAA, he was the Hulk, remember? But it didn't last. All right? Remember? He tied the Braves' franchise record for home runs before the All-Star break with 16. But Major League pitchers decided to make some changes, and the curse of the strikeout hit him. Struck out 36%, and in his last month after returning from knee issue, he hit 132. So look, he's not coming into this season with all the celebrated accolades, but he's come in with an efficient new swing, okay, and he's very confident, most confident in the swing that he has improved. Okay, he's not coming in and working on something. He's got his routine going. Okay, he has worked on that swing all winter. He's ready to go. And then he got Yohan Camargo after he hit 272 with 19 homers. He believed that he had the third base job, but look, he's a guy who discovered the virtue of he only eats vegetables. So look, he's 17 pounds lighter. He's ready to go, and I think that this is going to be the position battle of the spring. Third base for the Atlanta Braves. Now at second base, Lurie Garcia, who only played 2 games at second base in 2019, he's one of 3 players to start second base. Danny Mendick, I love this guy. I wonder why. And prospect Nick Madrigal. So Yomer Sanchez, of course, was traded. Garcia, he's going to start the season second. He turned 29. He played 120 games as an outfielder, 19 at shortstop. So he has appeared at second base. Lurie Garcia, 34 starts during his career. And he's a baseball player. Now, Madrigal is considered the team's second baseman of the future. But when that future arrives, look, Garcia hit 279 with 8 homers and 40 RBIs. He could become a free agent at the end of this year. So he's ready to do anything. That's going to be another good position battle at second base. Interesting note. Michael Kopech faced hitters in the batting practice setting on Tuesday. Just another step forward. He missed all of last season, and so physically he says he feels fine, but they're going to bring him along a little slow. Garrett Richards, who pitched through, is another guy who pitched through pain for 3 years before he had Tommy John. He made 3 starts in 2019, but he'll turn 32 at the end of May. Another guy that you gotta put down and etch him in your kitchen table. He allowed 8 runs, 10 hits, walked 6 batters. Okay? But he's ready to go. He's starting to do things that he was doing before he got hurt. And look, don't forget, he started his first game for the Padres on September 16th. And then he went to Tommy John. And look, so Garrett Richards was shut down, elbow pain. 6 starts into the 2016 season. He had stem cell surgery. Okay? But opponents only batted 211 against him. In constant pain. How good is this going to be to have a pitcher pain-free for the first time in 4 years? Had his first normal off-season. He gained 20 pounds. His fastball hits 97. You just can't not forget Garrett Richards. Now, a guy who people just don't know what to do with is Steven Matz. He's healthy, okay? He's healthy. He had a roller coaster year last year, 11-10 with a 4.2 ERA, 32 appearances, worked 2 games in relief. He'll pitch on Sunday, by the way, with Rick Porcello, Michael Wacha, another free agent battle. The top of the rotation, of course, with DeGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman. Match had an ugly 4.8 ERA in the first half last year. But then he sliced it to a 3.5 after the All-Star break. So, overall, look, we got Jeremy Hefner, who's the team's third pitching coach. Dave Eiland was fired. Phil Regan, the whole thing. We'll see what happens there. And finally, to end it on another pitcher, who's the number 5 pitcher in